Hey there, welcome to my channel B&B Update Us 24. Is she my daughter? Taylor's rage erupts as Ridge's DNA shock breaks him. B&B. Hope is my daughter becomes a bold and the beautiful bombshell for the ages, sending shockwaves through the entire Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families. The test, initially meant to clear up a completely different paternity issue, accidentally reveals that Ridge is biologically connected to Hope Logan, a truth no one, not even Ridge himself, could have ever fathomed. The revelation triggers a tidal wave of disbelief, betrayal, and suppressed secrets that come crashing down in the most unpredictable way, setting off emotional fireworks that leave no one untouched. Taylor Hayes, Ridge's longtime love and mother of several of his children, completely loses her cool when she hears the news. Her rage is volcanic, not just at Brooke Logan, who she accuses of orchestrating the entire thing to manipulate Ridge and regain control of his heart, but also at Ridge himself for not seeing the emotional manipulation that's been playing out under his nose for decades. "She's been lying to you for years," Taylor screams, her voice cracking with emotion and betrayal, "and now you want to believe you have a daughter with her." Ridge is shattered, not just emotionally but existentially, because the implications are devastating. Was his marriage to Brooke more tangled and hidden in deceit than he ever realized? Was hope raised under false pretenses all these years? And most of all, how does this change his relationship with Thomas, Steffi, and even RJ? As Ridge spirals into a tailspin, the flashbacks begin flooding his mind. Moments with Hope when he felt an inexplicable connection, times he defended her against all odds, and the quiet guilt he felt when siding with Brooke's daughter over his own children. It all begins to make a sick kind of sense, and that terrifies him even more. Ridge's entire identity begins to crumble. He sees himself in the mirror, not as the powerful, confident Forrester patriarch, but as a man who's been living a lie. Brooke, when confronted, insists she didn't know, or at least, that's what she claims. She's shaken, too, but there's a flicker of something in her eyes. Maybe she did suspect it once, long ago, but chose to bury it to protect Hope's perception of her father, Deacon Sharp. Taylor accuses Brooke of rewriting history, weaponizing Ridge's feelings, and once again playing puppet master to the most powerful men in her life. "You always get what you want, don't you, Brooke?" Taylor hisses through gritted teeth, "even if it destroys everyone else." Brooke, hurt and defensive, fights back. "Don't act like you're innocent in all of this, Taylor. You've had your secrets too. But I never lied to Ridge about Hope, because I didn't know." Yet the damage is done. Hope, caught in the middle, is devastated. Her whole world is turned upside down. She always thought of Ridge as a father figure, but now, to possibly be his daughter? It makes her question everything, her past, her bond with Liam, and even her rivalry with Steffi. Does this make them real sisters now? Is she a Forrester by blood? Is she entitled to a seat at the family table, or is she just a pawn in a decades-long battle between Brooke and Taylor? Meanwhile, Steffi is blindsided and furious. To her, this is yet another instance of Hope invading the Forrester dynasty. "She's not one of us," Steffi barks, her voice sharp with venom. "Just because some DNA test says so, doesn't mean she belongs here." But deep down, Steffi is terrified. If Hope is Ridge's daughter, the power dynamic within Forrester Creations shifts dramatically. Hope could stake a claim to the company, to the legacy, to the name, and that threat is not something Steffi is willing to ignore. Thomas, on the other hand, is confused and conflicted. He's spent years in a tangled obsession with Hope, trying to win her love, raise Douglas, and prove himself worthy. But now, to think she might be his half-sister? It's repulsive, destabilizing, and sends him into a psychological tailspin that could reawaken his darkest impulses. Liam, ever the bystander to chaos, doesn't know how to support Hope through this because it also raises questions about Douglas, about family ties, and about his own place in the Logan Forrester web. As if that weren't enough, Bill Spencer and Deacon Sharp both enter the fray, each with their own motives. Deacon is gutted. The man who believed he was Hope's father now has to accept that the one connection that redeemed him is suddenly in question. He demands a second DNA test, even though the results seem ironclad. "You're not taking my daughter from me," Deacon warns Ridge. "I don't care what some lab says." Ridge, overwhelmed and torn, doesn't even know what to believe anymore. He wonders if this is karma for years of betrayal, for choosing between women like they were chess pieces, for trying to control everyone else's destiny. Now his own has spun wildly out of control, and is left picking up the shattered remains of his family. Eric Forrester weighs in, trying to restore peace, but even he is shaken. If Hope is your daughter, he tells Ridge gravely, you have to face this head-on, no matter the cost. The Forrester matriarchs and patriarchs gather, stunned, trying to sort through years of timelines, lies, and emotional wreckage. The real question, though, is, who sent the DNA test in the first place? Was it an accident, or was it someone's intention to reveal this secret? Could it have been Sheila Carter, pulling strings to destabilize the Forresters once more? Or perhaps it was Taylor, in a moment of desperation, looking to expose Brooke once and for all, taking a private test that unintentionally set this inferno on fire? Whatever the reason, the repercussions are enormous. Relationships will never be the same, battle lines are redrawn, loyalty is tested, and at the center of it all is Ridge Forrester, a man who once believed he had everything figured out, but is now drowning in a truth too big to ignore, too painful to accept, and too dangerous to trust. Don't marry him, Ridge. He isn't Steffi's father, and reveals Mom's secret in front of him. The air crackled with tension in the Grand Forrester living room as Steffi Forrester, usually calm, composed, and fiercely loyal, stood trembling, her eyes filled with rage and betrayal as she faced both her mother, Taylor Hayes, and the man she'd called Dad her entire life. Stop the wedding, Ridge, she shouted, her voice splintering the silence like glass against stone. You can't marry my mother. Not after you hear what she's been hiding from you, from all of us. Gasps echoed through the room as wedding guests froze in place, stunned into silence. Taylor's face drained of color, her carefully styled hair and radiant bridal gown now seeming like a facade hiding something rotten underneath. Ridge narrowed his eyes, confusion and concern etched into every line of his face. What are you talking about, Steffi? He asked, trying to keep his voice calm. But Steffi could no longer hold back the tidal wave of emotions she'd buried for weeks. I'm not your daughter, Ridge. You're not my father. And Mom has known the truth for decades. The room erupted in chaos as the words hung heavy in the air, like a bomb detonating inside the Forrester family legacy. Don't do this, Steffi. Not like this. But it was too late. Steffi jerked away, her eyes blazing. No, Mom. Not this time. I protected you. I defended you. I trusted you. But I found the letter. I saw the DNA test in your desk drawer. It was dated just days after I was born. Ridge's name wasn't on it. Another man's was. Ridge felt the ground shift beneath him, as if the entire Forrester mansion had tilted. A lifetime of fatherhood, memories of Steffi's first steps, her ballet recitals, her. The name hit Ridge like a freight train. Jack Finnegan, Finn's father. The implications were staggering. Steffi and Finn would be half-siblings. The relationship they fought to maintain, the love they almost lost when Sheila Carter entered their lives, was it all based on a lie? Ridge turned to Taylor, betrayal shining in his eyes, and said, You knew? You let me raise her as mine? You let me fall in love with her as my daughter? Taylor sobbed, shaking her head. It was complicated. I didn't want. The audience fell silent in shock. Brooke, Thomas, Eric, and even Sheila Carter herself stood at the edge of the room, watching as a decades-long lie came undone in a matter of seconds. Thomas, in a desperate voice, grabbed Steffi's arm and said, Are you sure, Steffi? Maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's a mistake. But Steffi shook her head, saying, It's real. I had it tested again. The results are the same. Ridge isn't my biological father. Ridge fell into a chair, hands on his knees, the weight of this realization crushing him. Even with all the back and forth with Brooke, all the chaos with Rick, Hope, and RJ. I thought you were my anchor. My legacy. In a raw voice, Taylor said, You are still her father in every way that matters. You raised her. You loved her. Biology doesn't erase that. Ridge, however, got to his feet abruptly, his eyes cold now, and said, It does when you knew and kept it from me. That's not love, Taylor. That's manipulation. Brooke, standing nearby, took a hesitant step forward, her face unreadable, and whispered, "He deserves the truth. Always has," subtly validating Ridge's suffering in a way that only made Taylor feel bad. "I appreciate that, Steffi. I do. You're braver than either of us. This wedding is over. I can't marry someone who's lied to me for half her life. I need time to figure out who I am, and who I'm not." Steffi's voice broke again as she turned to face her father, Ridge. "You may not be my biological father, Ridge, but you'll always be my dad. But I couldn't let you marry Mom without knowing what she did. You needed the truth." Ridge nodded slowly, his eyes. The crowd froze or followed Ridge as he left, his tuxedo jacket flapping behind him like a fallen angel's wings, and Steffi stood between the shards of her own identity, the ruins of her parents' love, and the thunderous truth that had forever altered everyone's lives. Taylor collapsed into a chair, broken, her veil falling into her lap like a symbol of everything lost. Brave and lovely. Brooke's ingenious strategy to reclaim Ridge. After years of losing Ridge Forrester to the seemingly endless tug-of-war between herself and Taylor Hayes, Brooke has reached her breaking point, not with Ridge, but with the games, the interference, and the half-truths that have haunted their decades-long love story. But this time, she isn't going to beg, cry, or wait for fate to deliver Ridge back into her arms. No. This time, Brooke Logan is taking destiny into her own hands with a plan so calculated, so emotionally layered, and so irresistibly clever that even Ridge won't realize he's already caught in the web until it's far too late. Brooke's clever plan begins not with seduction, but with silence, an unusual weapon for the often passionate, outspoken blonde. Instead of chasing Ridge, she retreats, focusing on herself, her career, her children, and her legacy. She lets Ridge miss her. She withdraws her presence from the boardroom, the family gatherings, and even those seemingly accidental run-ins. For the first time, Ridge begins to feel her absence, not just her constant emotional presence. It's a psychological move, designed to create emotional scarcity, something Ridge has never experienced from Brooke. And it works. He begins to notice her empty chair at meetings, her missing laughter at family dinners, and the sudden quiet when he calls and she doesn't answer. That's when Brooke begins her second phase, transformation. She makes a bold rebranding move at Forrester Creations, revamping Brooke's bedroom into something new, sleeker, edgier, and unapologetically powerful. No longer just about sensuality and romance, the new line emphasizes self-confidence, feminine independence, and emotional empowerment, values that reflect Brooke's personal growth and hint at the woman Ridge might be losing forever. The line becomes a media sensation. Celebrities clamor to wear it, social media explodes, and Brooke is once again front and center, not as Ridge's on-again off-again flame, but as a fashion powerhouse. Her success becomes undeniable, and even Taylor is forced to acknowledge that Brooke has leveled up, no longer just competing for Ridge's heart, but commanding a legacy on her own terms. Meanwhile, Brooke enlists the quiet help of Eric Forrester, who still holds immense influence over Ridge. Eric, ever the wise patriarch, softly nudges Ridge toward the realization that love isn't about winning battles, it's about recognizing the person who stands by you through all of them. "Don't let pride keep you from the one woman who's always loved you," Eric tells Ridge over drinks one evening. It's a simple statement, but it sticks. The contrast between Brooke's glowing confidence and Taylor's growing insecurity starts to shift the emotional tide, and Taylor senses the change and starts acting out, subtly undermining Brooke in meetings, becoming defensive in conversations with Ridge, even going beyond boundaries with their children to assert control. Brooke, knowing full well that Taylor's instability will be her own undoing, does not retaliate, instead letting her unraveling be seen clearly by Ridge without interference. Her restraint is surgical, and it's working. Ridge starts to see the cracks in his relationship with Taylor and begins to wonder if he made the right decision, again. Then comes Brooke's next move, an elegant and emotionally devastating letter left anonymously for Ridge in his study, written with raw honesty, chronicling her love for him, not the fairytale, but the truth, the messy fights, the redemptions, the loyalty, the betrayals, and above all, the unbreakable bond. She doesn't sign the letter, and instead of pleading for his return, she ends it with, "When you're ready to come home, not to a house, but to us, I'll know." The letter destroys Ridge in The final piece of her plan unfolds during a Forrester gala, an event Brooke helped plan, but again, takes no credit for. Dressed in a stunning gold gown, she floats through the event with effortless grace, captivating everyone, even strangers. Ridge watches her from across the room as if seeing her for the first time again. But it's not just her beauty, it's her strength, her composure, her refusal to cling. At the end of the night, as guests leave and the lights dim, Ridge approaches her on the terrace, the city lights casting a glow behind them. He confesses he read the letter. Brooke looks him in the eyes, calm and clear. "Then you know everything," she says. "There's nothing more to say." But Ridge doesn't walk away. He steps closer. "There's everything to say. Starting with, I'm sorry." Brooke allows a single tear to slip down her cheek, but she doesn't reach for him. "If this is just another chapter in our cycle, Ridge, I can't do it again. I won't." Ridge takes her hand. "It's not. You've shown me who you are without me. And I've seen who I am without you. I don't like him very much." It's not an apology. It's a surrender. And it's exactly what Brooke planned, not to trap him, not to manipulate him, but to help him see the truth she's known all along. Brooke Logan didn't win Ridge back by fighting harder. Rather, she won him back by becoming the woman he couldn't live without. As they embraced under the stars, a new chapter began, one that isn't based on possession or fear, but on the kind of love that only endures when both people choose it with open eyes and open hearts. Brooke Logan's brilliant plan was not about seduction or strategy, but rather about letting go and realizing that true love isn't something you chase, but rather something you allow space to return. 1. The Forrester vision is no longer reflected. Even Ridge, who has always been the visionary, has quietly distanced himself from the brand's softer identity. In a fashion industry that demands constant evolution, hope for the future just doesn't fit with where Forrester Creations is heading, or where the drama needs to go. Hope's line, while meaningful in its time, feels outdated. It lacks the daring edge seen in Steffi's leadership or Thomas Forrester's latest designs. 2. Too much personal chaos connects the line. Let's face it, Hope's fashion line has become more of a symbol of personal turmoil than professional success. It serves as the backdrop for her complex emotional storyline, which includes her feelings for Thomas, the dissolution of her marriage to Liam, and her developing identity crisis. Rather than empowering Hope, the line has frequently burdened her with unrealistic expectations and recurring story arcs. Every attempt to relaunch or revive the brand only serves to reopen old wounds, reignite. 3. There is no clear future and it is a business risk. Closing the book on hope for the future allows new stories and power struggles to unfold. Whether it's Steffi's fierce line, Zenday's next chapter, or even a fresh face like RJ stepping in, cutting the line clears runway space, literally and metaphorically, for something new, bold, and drama-ready. Hope for the future hasn't delivered consistent sales or acclaim, and each resurgence has been short-lived, relying on Thomas's designs or gimmicky campaigns rather than innovation or a lasting vision.